Got me feeling like the Clips, bitch, I been grinding. It's rest in peace to Nip, I'ma keep shining. Rest in peace to Cookie, we gon' keep grinding. Keep grinding. We gon' keep grinding. Keep grinding. It's the return of some real shit. Music you can hear with, make the people feel this. Return of the real shit. Music you can feel, bitch. Hip hop, hip hop,
We're here another Sunday, Blur to Prove Entertainment podcast. Hopefully, I'm your favorite co-host, Amazing Spider Cam. Like, subscribe on YouTube, download on Spotify, watch us on Facebook. You know, where everybody at? Where everybody at? I'm getting lonely.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
what's up with y'all?
Everyone?
Hello, hello.
Our guest for this evening is an author. He is the author of the Protector Saga that is on Amazon for sale. We'll give it up for Branson Grant is in the building with us today. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing, man? Thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. So, well, how's Logan and Shay doing, my co-host? May not be rude. Before we get into this.
I'm good, busy day.
Live from the vehicle.
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good. I just got off work, so I'm winding down, playing some Magic the Gathering. Well, I was, but now I'm talking to you guys. So, yeah, I'm can't wait to hear more from Branson.
Yeah, let's get over to Branson. Can you tell us a little bit of the Protector Saga?
The Protector Saga is a book that I started here a couple years ago. I just got into the mind I wanted to create something of my own after watching so many things growing up. So I just kind of took that out. At first, it just started out as a hobby, and then the more I got into it, is the more I thought like I could actually do it, because I started seeing so many different people in the industry kind of had similar stories. Like they just had a passion for creating and putting their own mark on the industry and everything. So it was that level. I was just like, I know I could do this. Like there's something that I could really bring to it, a character that would speak to a lot of different people, and a story that people hadn't heard before. So it just I just decided to put pen to paper, and I've been doing it for almost over 10 years now. So the fact that releasing the book was big accomplishment for me, and the massive amount of fan support that I've gotten since the release of it, and even before the book came out, was just incredible. Which was a big thing, like, because you always wonder when you create something, like, is anybody really going to like it, or is the story going to gravitate towards anybody? Is it going to affect anybody? So it was really great that I had such a big fan support behind it when it came out, and it continues to only get bigger and bigger as the days go on.
So, who are your comic book influences, if you had any?
A lot. As far as comic, it'd be Dwayne McDuffie. He was a big one for me. Him and Milestone and everything he did with Static and Icon and all that. Just him as a person in general. Like anybody who's ever met him or spent any length of time with him, always has something positive to say. And he was this larger than life guy. He was over 6 foot tall. He was huge, but he had this kind of kindness around him that everybody always talks about. So he was a big influence to me. Jim Lee, he was big growing up in the 90s X-Men, especially the show that came with it. That was heavily influenced on his style and everything. Robert Kirkman, and when he created Invincible and Walking Dead and so much other stuff, his work ethic was a big thing for me. And in the beginning, definitely when the project started, Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver, because with Ethan's work is what brought me back in the comics. I hadn't read or been, doing art or anything at the time for a long time. I, had kids and got out of high school and everything. So I kind of was just working and going through those motions. But I came across his work, and I just immediately gravitated toward that. I hadn't seen anything like it. It was super detailed, and the use of shadows and just the whole layout of his work was just incredible. So I picked the Green Lantern book up off of just the work alone, and then I found out about Jeff Johns and his writing style through reading Green Lantern, and it was phenomenal. It was just such an explorative way that I've never seen the character written before, and even to this day, it's one of the greatest versions of Green Lantern ever written. Robert Medici did a great follow up to it, but yeah, those two were to me the start of it. As far as comic book wise.
Yeah, I mean, when you hear Jeff Johns, you automatically think Green Lantern or Greg Pak. You
Yeah.
always hear, Greg Pak as Hulk, and all those are, you got some pretty heavy hitters for inspiration. So
Yeah, and I got to meet Ethan Van Sciver, and he I was probably just in the early development of the Protector Saga, and the story just didn't feel right to me for some reason. I just wasn't. I felt like I was just going through the motions when I was writing it at some point, like some of the characters were, and I didn't feel they had a lot of depth to them. So when I met him, I was telling him about the project, and then he helped me saying, when you create characters, you want to make sure every character has a voice. Every character is, the main character is not always going to be everybody's favorite character. So you need to make sure every character has a voice and they all feel real, and that other people can see living through them and the choices they make. So when he said that, the Protector Saga became almost a completely different machine after that, because I started investing more of like the people I knew around me, my friends, background, personal events that had happened to me, things like that. So the story had changed, but to me, the changes made it 1,000 times better. It's almost not even the same story from when I started. So that was a big help when I got to meet him for the first time.
Yeah, so like when you're getting into your creative process and you're like actually in the development cycle, are you consuming other artists' work, or are you just focused on your stuff at the time?
For the most part, I try to stay within my own like realm, because it helps me when I'm writing. Like if I'm actually writing, I'm pretty much in my own realm. But like during my regular day, I'm usually consuming like everything. Like I'm watching interviews with artists, I'm watching interviews with writers, I'm watching, current stories and events that are going on in comics and stuff like that. So I kind of like, even before like I start writing, I kind of immerse myself in the world of that, to kind of mentally prepare me for me going into this, to how things should play out. Because there's things in writing and things in comics that like are not so cut and blank about how stories make you feel. Like they go into the minutia of like why these scenes made people feel the way they did, without even having to say that. And then when they tell you it, you're like, that did make me feel like that. And I didn't even realize that's why it made me feel like that. Like there was a Marvel interview about the Black Panther movie, and they were talking about the scene where Killmonger enters the room, and they showed that the scene starts out upside down, and then the scene rotates right side up, and it was to show the changing of the guard from T'Challa to Killmonger, and how the world was about to be turned upside down. So it was like the filmography was showing you all this, and like you feel it, but you didn't need them to tell you like that was what was going on and everything. So it's stuff like that like I try to get into, to like when I'm structuring scenes and stuff like that, and how characters behave and stuff. So it's stuff like that I try to get into.
Yeah, like I think that's an interesting point where it makes me think of like objective storytelling. It's like this moment of the camera changing is like objectively has this meaning, and I think that's some of the best material to give people, because that gives them the free range to start using their imagination. So now it's like, oh, but what else are the other parallels that are like everything's turned upside down, and I think that's good kinds of work to infuse into your work. That makes it better, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Talking about how not everybody's favorite character is like the lead character, do you have a favorite character from the Protector? Anybody in particular, especially if you were, pulling things from your life and people you know?
It's probably like a group for me. Like I love I see my favorite character I created was probably Momentum. It was at the beginning of it, and Liberty Force as a team. I love him as a team, but I love Momentum as a character because like he just comes on the scene like immediately, and like he hasn't seen these guys in like a few years, and he's like already like cracking jokes at like his own team. For him, it's like no time has passed, and I kind of have that with like a lot of my friends. Like certain friends like I don't get to see all the time, but when we do see each other, it's like we see each other every day. So like I love the fact that he has that carefree spirit, like with his and including with his powers. So like he's just kind of like the guy who kind of brings them together and makes them realize like, yeah, we're superheroes and we're saving people's lives, but we're also family, and this is all we got, and we gotta be there for each other, even when I'm like trying to tear you down at the same time by making a joke. So like he'd probably be one of my favorite characters from that team at the beginning of the book.
Okay, that's what's up.
So when you're using basically superheroes and comic book style writing, everybody from everywhere will have similar powers. Like, well, typically the black guy has electrical powers. Well, I don't know what that's been a trope forever. But
I don't know why that's a thing.
I don't know either. You never had black lightning before. I was like, all right, that's a thing. But in your book, how do you make common power sets unique, or how do you make them unique to the way the characters use them, or use them in everyday life, and not everything just how to use in combat, or just like, do they have any drawbacks that affect their life outside being a hero?
I feel I had almost every power in the Protector Saga almost has a cost. So like they're all not perfect people. So like they don't get things, and it's just you have it and you're good, and you don't have to ever worry about anything. Like even the Protector himself with his powers, it may take a longer time to deal with, but at the same time there is a drawback to it if it's not handled. And the same thing with every other characters. When you get more into the story, you'll realize that there's a drawback to almost all of them. So it's almost a hint at the point there's a cost for power. Like nothing is perfect. So I feel there's a lot of other characters in other mediums where it's just like they get it and like that's the end of it. So I've also put evolution in their powers to the point where the Protector will not be the same person at the end of this saga when I finish it, when I get to like the end part of his story. So he won't be the same person, his powers won't be the same, and that'll be the same for every character. Because as people grow, I wanted the powers to grow. I also wanted the powers to reflect who the person is, kind of, and why they even have these abilities, why they develop them for them. So that was a big thing for me. And I feel like in comics, usually it's kind of it's weird storytelling for me, but like I get why it's there. It's just like punch harder, like do more of what you're already doing, like that's kind of but like if you go into storytelling like with anime or something like that, it's the character has to kind of break some type of mental barrier to like get to the next level and continue to push more to get even more out of it. They can't just decide they're stronger. They have to get to that level by, breaking their own setbacks that they have to push forward. So I wanted to say something along that lines that kind of makes sense to me, because I feel that's a life message for you, because it's like we can do anything, but we hold ourselves back by saying that's impossible. We could never get that because we weren't born like this, or we have these opportunities aren't out there for this. Like we set ourselves back with our own mental block. So the powers kind of are on the same lane for me.
Go beyond your limits. Go plus ultra.
Straight up.
Surpass your limits.
That's right here, right now.
Mm-hmm. I do want that tattooed someday.
I'm a big My Hero
Surpass your limits.
That's a
yeah.
big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So like, first of all, I just want to say shout outs to Craig in the comments. Branson's beard lineup is fire. Wish connected. I can relate. I feel you, Craig.
Oh man.
Branson got to drop some beard tips.
Yeah, for real. My man is clean right now.
This happened in my last live. Like they were just like beard.
bro, you grew up for a reason. You knew what you was doing.
Man. I'm just right now. I'm just growing it out, dude. I haven't shaved in like probably like a week now, man. This is the longest I haven't shaved in a while, so it's just growing out now.
Light flex.
Exactly. This is the opposite of a depression beard. This is a pure happiness beard.
Right? Yeah.
If that's the case, I got the pursuit of happiness beard. If that's the case.
So like, who are some characters that you could be compelled to draw? Like, let's say like any company hits you up, and who are some characters that you would love to do?
I wouldn't draw them. I would write them. I would love to write them. If I were to do anything, I would like, honestly, I would really like to do an entire line of like my own up with all the DC heroes, like the entire DC universe. Like if like, you know, like how they had the Ultimate Universe with Marvel where they got to do whatever he wanted with all the characters and everything, create his own thing. I would love to do something like that. That'd be really cool if I could do that.
Yeah, DC would probably be open to something like that because they reset every few years anyway.
Yeah. I would have it as like they do like with different Earths, like Earth 5 and 3 and whatever like that. I would just have it as a different Earth, and I would just want to do a starting point where you'd see the origin, and then like I would love to do that and have Alex Ross do all the covers. Like that would definitely. I love his style. Like is like the most iconic. Like I have an entire long bin just full of his work just because he did it. I don't even care about what was the story. I mean, most of the stories are good because most of them are written by Jeff Johns and stuff like that. But it's just his work, man. It gets me every time I see it. It just lets me think of a better time in comics.
Yeah, like Kingdom Come is insane.
Yeah, man, it's so good. Like, and then I recently read the Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Shazam story he did, where he did the interiors, he did the whole book, and it's really good, man. It's some heart-wrenching stuff, and that's honestly right there is why I got into writing so much. Is I loved doing art when I was a kid. I loved drawing. People always told me I was super talented and everything like that. So, but like to write something that makes people want to change their life or change the way they view things or get them into the industry or whatever the case may be, that right there was something that drew me to doing this. So that's what put me more as a writer now.
Okay.
So outside of, you know, growing in life and surpassing your limits, is there another story that you're trying to tell within the Protector?
I would say there's multiple stories. It just depends on what you're coming into it for. But it's there to give you knowledge, as to follow Brandon on this journey. It's to give you information about, you know, the islands, you know, in this world, because like the way I have it set out, it's like it's an alternate history. It's this Earth, but it's if things would have progressed differently, if certain people would have been here, like there's superheroes in this world, so it's like different events are going to play out. But it's also to give you real history, because like I have factual history, but as well as, you know, made up history in this world and stuff like that. So, and it's also to broaden people's perspective, because I feel mostly it's you can't fault people for having stereotypes of other people when they never know about things. You know, like if there's no media out there to show them, they're only going to go by what, you know, somebody else shows them, and it may be wrong and it may be in a negative light. So I wanted to bring a positive light to Islanders and, you know, the Jamaican culture and everything like that. So you'll see as the progression more of where the story is going is where it's coming from. So there's something in here for everybody.
All right. It sounds interesting.
I guess I'll ask, what would be your favorite Marvel event and your favorite DC event that you have read?
DC probably will. It's probably always going to be Jeff Johns' like entire run. Like every event that happened in there, from Brightest Day, Blackest Night, the beginning of his rebirth, all of that, like everything he wrote was incredible. And I've always gravitated back towards. I actually got to meet Robert Venditti here recently, like a week ago, and me and him were talking about it. Him, the challenges of coming off of Jeff Johns' run and going back. 'Cause to me, I feel like he ended it. Like he ended it showing what happened to Hal after years and years of being the Green Lantern. So like he had to go back in and show the spaces. So I felt he did an incredible job. It was really good, and it was challenging for him, but he loved writing it and he loved everything he did in it. So I was glad that he enjoyed the project. As far as Marvel has a few stories, but like I don't think they've ever measured up to anything of that level for me. But the King in Black saga here recently was pretty decent. Because I love Venom's character, and honestly, it never made sense to me for him to try to hold a book by himself because he's a villain. And most movies like that don't make sense to me. Like it was like the Joker movie. It didn't really, it's kind of hard to be a movie without Batman, but it was the King in Black event was pretty good as far as writing wise, as what they opened up in the mythology, and the fact that so many different writers were using things from each other. I say that's for Marvel. That's what it was for me. Is that so many different writers were pulling from other things that other writers had done in such a short amount of time and found a way to combine it all to make it make sense. Like the guy who was writing Thor, what he was writing took place in King in Black, and the person after him. So it was a lot of collaborative effort, and it was, you could see it was a really big team event that really came together really well. So I applaud them for that.
They made all the side stories relevant and linear.
Yeah.
With the main event.
Yeah.
Who are give me three of your favorite lesser known characters
in the industry or just in general?
In general.
In general, I'm liking a lot of the independents because of the work they're putting into it, and they're trying so hard to get to Concrete Comics. That's a big one for me because he's putting out a new book almost every few months, and it's and they're all tip top. The art is amazing, the writing is on point. He's just brings he has so many people just gravitating towards him to help produce this stuff. It's really and he's a great Alonzo's a great personality himself. And he tried to I met him here in Atlanta here a couple weeks ago, so that was a blessing itself to actually get to meet him. And his whole team and everything, and they're all just so incredible people, very heartwarming. They actually we were talking about getting together and doing a whole event with all of us, and we buy out a big portion of the con, the center, and set all of our stuff up for it, and do a massive collaborative thing. And I'm all of that is it's very possible, and it's we could really push forward to be a big thing, because they come to the cons the DC and Marvel, their executives people, they send people to the cons to look at different things and stuff like that. So it's it is stuff like that puts you on their radar and stuff. So it him right there with his books and all the ones in his whole lineup, big one right there for me. I got to meet another one. There's a book series called Lost Child of Andromeda. He's writing a book series right now. I got to meet him too. He's really good. He's on IG. His book's out. It's really good. I'm a little bit into it, so I got to finish that one. Who else? There's so many. I get lost in them, but I try to support them all and get them all. But yeah, those two definitely I remember.
I seen a cosplayer of the Protector on your page.
Yeah, that was super dope.
Yeah, I was curious if it was somebody that you were working with, or that was a fan that just decided to choose that character.
That was a guy. So he started following me, and he was on Ninja Warrior too, which when I went through his thing, I saw that. And he's Jamaican too, and he's he does cosplay and everything. If you go through his page, he does a lot of cosplay and stuff. He's incredible. So he's I've been looking forever for Jamaican character. I've never really seen one that I could really get behind. He's came across your page. So he sent me a message. He's would you mind if I do it? I was yeah, that'd be great. I'm thinking he's just gonna, try to do something, but to the fact that he took it to that detail was crazy. And there was also the fact that it was so good. I was I always did worry about that because comics, you know, it's easy to look good in, you know, comics, but sometimes that does not. If you do a comic accurate costume, it doesn't always translate to like live action. So when he did that, I was like, that would work. The costume would look amazing. So like, yeah, I was definitely super happy. He just did it just to do it, and then somebody else bought my book, and they were a cosplayer too, and they cosplayed as Momentum, and they didn't even tell me they were doing it, and they just did it when they shouted out the book, and I was like, I was blown away. So like, and then there was a girl who bought my book, and she cosplayed as like female Protector, and I was like, this is crazy. Y'all are too much. So like, yeah, that right there it's a lot for me. It's the fact that I have people out there dressing up as these characters and taking it upon themselves. Like it's really big to me to see all that. And I have another kid now, who I meet every year when I go to MegaCon. He's really great. Now he wants to cosplay Major Hammer, and I feel he's gonna do an amazing job at that because he's a really good cosplayer. He does a smashing job at everything he does. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I really did like the detail in the costume, and if they were gonna do a real live action, it would definitely work.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you had a chance, you get offered the opportunity to put the Protector Saga like on Netflix or, you know, a big movie company like that. Would you want to be live action, or would you want it to be animated?
I mean, personally, I would want to be animated first. I wouldn't if they said they want to do live action first or whatever. I wouldn't, you know, shy away from it. I would want to go animation because I feel like I want to go through each step. So like the Protector Saga was written as a book first, and then the comic will come later. And then to me, from comic it is animation next, you know. And then I wanted to build my audience like that, like go through all the spaces, like so you can any sort of medium that you would want to absorb this property in, you could absorb it in. And so I would want to go animation next, but I would do live action either way. Like it wouldn't matter. The only thing is like I'll never relinquish 100% control over the Protector Saga property because I just feel that I'm not close to ending it yet, and I don't want the message of the Protector Saga lost within the annuities of, you know, what people think is popular or what they want the message to be at this time or who they think it needs to speak to. Like I'm not writing the book for that. Like I'm writing the book because this is a story about characters and their development, and it can't be met with like this is the current agenda and this is what we want it to say. Like that's not what I'm writing this project for. So I'm writing it for these characters. So that's important to me.
Logan, did you want to set up the lightning round, or you had a final question for him?
Well, you know, I got to ask my favorite question.
Uh-oh.
So you're in control of the world right now. You have complete power. What's the first thing you do?
This always goes left.
Oh man, I mean that's it's hard to say that because like you're thinking from a human standpoint. Like, right. Yeah, it's too many. There's too many consequences to things like that. I mean, you get rid of ignorance, so you probably solve a lot of problems right there.
There you go. That's an interesting answer.
We're banning ignorance. Oh goodness.
Yeah. Game over. Yo, some people's whole lives will have to be erased.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Like because it's so easy to be stupid all the time. You know, like it's just like, dude, just chill out, man.
How do I live now?
Yeah, literally. What do I do?
Yeah, I can't start arguments for no reason.
Shayla, you got any final thoughts?
I was curious about what you thought the best part and the worst part of self-publication.
The best part is, you know, it's all on you. You know that it's kind of both actually. The best part is that it's all on you. You're setting your own deadlines. You're setting your own project mandates, and you're the boss of everything. You know, I mean, for me, it's good because like I'm the boss of like 5 other people on my team. You know, my completely creative team. You know, my amazing artist, Carlo Barbary, who's, you know, doing incredible work on the comic right now. Who, you know, I can't wait for it to be done because like every page he sends to me is just, you know, absolutely stellar. The same thing with Walden Wong on inks and Warner on color, and Walden is also doing the lettering as well. And I got Dominic Glover, who's another incredible artist, who's my B cover artist. So they're being the boss and giving them the freedom to work on this project at a time gives them the freedom to do their best work that they put out to the state. You know, to me, like every time I see stuff they do for anybody else, I'm like, it's really good, but it's not as good as what you're doing on the Protector Saga. So it's that level that I like, because I think most independents, they get kind of lost in that, because it's like independent projects, that's kind of the statement you get to them. It's just like, it's good, but it's not as good as Marvel, or it's not as good as DC. And then like going into this, I already had that thought process. Like, I'm asking somebody to buy or invest in a character they've never heard of. Like, why would you buy the Protector Saga when you can just go buy Batman or Superman, or even the worst Batman story? It's still Batman, you know? So I can't just go off a namesake of the Protector Saga. I have to actually tell a really good story, and I have to have something that puts me at the same level or higher than the competitors that I'm going against. So I was really lucky to get people who are in the industry at that level already to be on my first project ever. So that is a great part of it, but it's also at the same time, it is all on you. If it fails, or you're not marketing enough, or you're not doing enough, or you're not making enough money, that is all on you to get. So sometimes that is the work, because I mean, when you're with a company, it's like they pay you, like they're going to hit you with an upfront check and say like, here, you have this much for marketing and this much for this, and you have a whole team of these people to do this, which is great. But sometimes you can lose yourself in that, because start flashing zeros at you and people start getting lazy in what they're doing, and because they believe they have everybody else's hand in it, and your message gets lost because of that. So it's a double-edged sword with that right there.
Well, Branson, we appreciate you coming on. Plug all your socials. Plug all your socials where they can find the Protector Saga. Besides Amazon, I know it's on Amazon. Where else can they find it? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you at?
Grant Branson at Instagram and Twitter, and I'm Branson Grant on Facebook. You can find the Protector Saga on Amazon right now. You can purchase the first part. Book 2 will be out hopefully February of next year. I'm 236 pages in the book 2, and I also will be doing a revised version of book 1, which will be combined with book 2. So you'll get both copies when you buy the second one. That way you'll be able to hit full story for that much, and then I'll be working on book 3 as soon as that one drops. And the comic is being developed right now by Carlos Barbary, who worked on Green Lantern, Super Sons, and is currently working on Spawn right now. So that's an amazing project, and I can't wait. But the link for my book is in my bio on Instagram, Twitter. So yeah, if you need to find me, that's it.
Wonderful.
All right. Appreciate you having on once again. Blur the Crew Entertainment. Like, comment, subscribe, enable a notification bell. I don't know how people can just do that repeatedly. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Follow, download on Spotify, like the page on Facebook. Check out all our shows. Loose Cannons, check that out. Also, that was on today. I know I'm going to miss something. I know I'm going to miss it. Freaking Tap In Tuesday on Tuesdays, followed by After Dark after that, Wednesday Night Fights, the whole Blur the Crew Entertainment schedule. Check us out. Branson, appreciate you having on. Having you on.
Y'all. Thank you. I really do, man. And I appreciate everything that y'all are doing here. It's just stuff like this that spreads the word about independence and other people like that what we're doing and stuff. So greatly appreciate you.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
All right. Check y'all out next week. Shout out to Zell and Brandon on the Holding It Down backstage. And then y'all too as well. Shaylin, Logan. Appreciate y'all coming on tonight.
Got me feeling like the Clips, bitch, I've been grinding. It's rest in peace to Nip, I'ma keep shining. Rest in peace to Cookie, we gon' keep grinding. Keep grinding. We gon' keep grinding. Keep grinding. It's a return of some real shit. Music you can hear with, make the people feel this. Return to the real shit. Music you can feel big.